Hi, welcome back to Principle of Cybersecurity course. Today we are going to talk about the art of protecting secrets. So in this, our basic objective is to talk about the cryptography, access control, and the obscuring data. So the principle of cryptography explain how modern day protocols and algorithms secure communications. So, cryptology is the science of making and breaking secret codes. The development and use of codes is cryptography. So, studying and breaking codes is cryptanalysis. Society has used cryptography for centuries to protect secret documents. For example, the Julius Caesar used a simple alphabetic cipher to encrypt messages to his generals in the field. So his generals would have knowledge of the cipher key required to decrypt the messages. So today, modern day cryptographic methods ensure secure communications. And then the access control is, as its name suggests, a way of controlling access to a building, a room, a system, a database, a file, and information. Organizations employ a variety of access control techniques to protect confidentiality. This chapter will examine the four steps in the access control process. One is identification, so that is, and second one is authentication, third one authorization, and fourth one accountability. So, in addition, we are going to describe the different access control models and access control types. So, this chapter, concludes by discussing the various ways user mask the data and data, the obfuscation and steganography are two techniques used to accomplish data masking. Right? So we quickly get into what is a cryptography. So cryptology is the science of making and breaking secret codes. So cryptography is a way to store and transmit data so only the intended recipient can read or process it. Modern cryptography uses computationally secure algorithms to make sure that cyber criminals cannot easily compromise protected information. So, data confidentiality ensures privacy so that only the intended receiver can read the message. Parties achieve this through encryption. So, encryption is the process of scrambling data so that an unauthorized party cannot easily read it. So, when enabling encryption, readable data is plain text or clear text, while the encrypted version is encrypted text or cipher text. So encryption converts the plain text readable message to cipher text, which is the unreadable. So disguised message, or we says that the digest message also. Decryption reverse the process. Encryption also requires a key which plays a critical role in encrypting and decrypting a message. The person possessing the key can decrypt the cipher text to plain text. So, historically, parties have used various encryption algorithms and methods. An algorithm is the process or formula used to solve a problem. So Julius Caesar is said to have secured messages by putting two sets of the alphabet side by side and then shifting one of them by a specific number of places. So the number of places in the shift serves as the key. So he converted plain text into ciphertext using this key, and only his generals, who also had the key, knew how to decrypt that particular message. So this method is the Caesar cipher. Okay. So similarly, if we talk about the history of the cryptography, the history of cryptography started in diplomatic circles thousands of years ago. Messengers from a king's court took encrypted messages to other courts. Occasionally, other courts not involved in the communication attempted to steal messages sent to a kingdom they considered an adversary. So, not long after, military commanders started using encryption to secure messages. Over the centuries, various cipher methods, physical devices, and aids encrypted and decrypted text. For suppose the first one is the skytail, and the second method is Caesar cipher. I just explained that Caesar cipher, just moving the some positions to right or left. Okay, and the third one is the Wegener cipher, and fourth one is the Enigma machine. So all cipher methods use a key to encrypt or decrypt a message. So the key is an important component in the encryption algorithm. An encryption algorithm is only as good as the key used. The more complexity involved, the more secure the algorithm. Key management is an important piece in the process of encryption. The process of encryption. So, how to create this ciphertext then? So, creating the ciphertext. So, each encryption method, which we have seen in the previous slide, uses a specific algorithm called a cipher to encrypt and decrypt messages. So, a cipher is a series of well defined steps used to encrypt and decrypt messages. So, there are several methods of creating ciphertext. One is your transposition method, or another one is your substitutional method, and another one is one time pad plain text method. So, let us see this transposition method. So the old encryption algorithm, such as your Caesar cipher or the Enigma machine, that depended on the secrecy of the algorithm to achieve confidentiality. So, with modern technology, where reverse engineering is often simple, and the parties use public domain algorithm. So, with most modern algorithms, successful decryption requires knowledge of the appropriate cryptographic keys. So, this means that the security of encryption lies in the secrecy of the keys, not the algorithm. So in the transposition, you can see here this transposition, it used the key here, the plain text that the flank east attack at downtown. The key which is used here is the rail fence, cipher. In rail fence cipher, all these, the plain text, they arrange in a, in the key of this one is rail fence of your three. So in three lane it is used. So FLANK, that is flank, EAST, flankist, AT. So in this manner, they arranged So the ciphertext from this plain text, the ciphertext generated here is FKTATN. From the second line, you find LNESAT and so on. And from the last line, you find AATKA. So this is, so in transposition, what it says, the letters are rearranged. In transposition method, the letters are rearranged. Okay. Whereas the another method we call the substitution cipher. In the substitution cipher, the plain text, that is the plank east attack at downtown, it use a key that shift the top scroll by three characters. So this the characters A, B, C, D, they are shifted three steps to the right. And whatever the letters are there, that F is replaced with I, then L is replaced with O, and so and so. So this, the letters are replaced with other letters in the substitution cipher. So then it will generate the cipher text for this plank east attack at downtown is the IODQN and so on. And the third one is the one time pad. So in this one time pad, that plain text combined with a secret key creates a new character. Any plain text that is combined with the secret key, that creates a one time pad. Now this one time pad, in this when it is the secret key combined with the plain text as a new character, so which then combines with the plain text to produce the cipher text, to produce the cipher text here. So from this, so some modern encryption algorithms still use transposition as part of the algorithm, and key management is the most difficult part of designing a crypto system. So many crypto systems have failed because of mistakes in their key management, and all modern cryptographic algorithms require key management procedures. So in practice, most attacks on cryptographic systems involve attacking the key management system rather than the cryptographic algorithm itself. So in this overview, you can find what are the different types of encryption that we'll discuss, right? So in types of encryption, there are two types of encryption is there. One is symmetric encryption, another one is asymmetric encryption. Symmetric and asymmetric encryption. So in the symmetric algorithms, so, as said, the cryptographic encryption can provide confidentiality by incorporating various tools and protocols. So, there are two approaches to ensuring the security of data when using encryption. The first is to protect the algorithm. If the security of an encryption system depends on the secrecy of the algorithm itself, the most important aspect is to guard the algorithm at all cost. So every time someone finds out the details of the algorithm, so every party involved would need to change the algorithm. That approach does not sound very secure or manageable. The second approach is to protect the keys. With modern cryptography, the algorithms are public. The cryptographic keys ensure the secrecy of the data. So, cryptographic keys are passwords that are part of the input into an encryption algorithm together along with the data requiring encryption. So, as said, there are two classes of encryption algorithm. One is symmetric algorithm, another one is asymmetric algorithm. In these symmetric algorithms, uses the same pre-shared key, sometimes called a secret key pair. The pre-shared key, sometimes called as secret key pair, to encrypt and decrypt the data. Both the sender and receiver know the pre-shared key. The same key is used. Okay, so sender and receiver, they know the pre-shared key before any encrypted communication begins. So symmetry in this diagram, you can see the symmetric algorithm use the same key to encrypt and to decrypt, whereas our plain text here is $1,000. When it is encrypted, it becomes unreadable manner for any unauthorized user. When it is decrypted, then it becomes again the plain text. So encryption algorithms that use a common key are simpler and need less computational power. Whereas the asymmetric key algorithm, so the asymmetrical encryption algorithms use one key for the encryption purpose and another key for decryption purpose. That means the asymmetrical encryption algorithms use one for encrypt data and a different key to decrypt that data. So one key is public and the other key is private. One key is public and another key is private. So in a public key encryption system, any person can encrypt a message using the public key of the receiver. So this is the key which is used for encrypting purpose. This is the public key of the receiver here. So and the receiver is the only one that can have the that can decrypt it using the private key which is available with the receiver itself. So parties exchanging secure messages without needing a pre-shared key. So you can see this two separate keys which are not shared. Okay. So the asymmetric algorithms are more complex compared to symmetric algorithms, and these algorithms are resource intensive and slower to execute. Slower to execute. So, what is the symmetrical encryption process? How it takes place? The symmetrical encryption process that we see that private key encryption. So, in private key encryption, it is a symmetrical encryption process. Let us discuss this. So, the symmetric algorithms use the same pre-shared key to encrypt and decrypt data, a method also known as private key encryption. It's also known as private key encryption. For example, Alice and Bob. So Alice is the sender and Bob is the receiver, suppose. So Alice and Bob, live in different locations, and want to exchange secret messages with one another through the mail system. So Alice wants to send a secret message to Bob here, that the secret message to Bob. So the private key encryption uses a symmetric algorithm. So as in the diagram you can see, the keys in this figure, that Alice and Bob have identical keys to a single padlock. They both have the identical keys, same key on receiver sender side and the receiver side. So the key exchange happened prior to sending any secret messages. Alice writes a secret message and puts it in a small box that she locks using the padlock. So she mails the box to the Bob, that is, the ciphertext will mail to the Bob. So the message is safe inside the box, inside this box, as a system, right? So the box makes its way through the post office system. When Bob receives the box, he uses his key to unlock the padlock and retrieve the messages. So Bob can use the same box and padlock to send a secret reply back to Alice. If Bob wants to talk to Carol, he needs a new pre shared key for that communication to keep it secret from Alice. The more people Bob wants to communicate with securely, the more keys he will need to manage. So, what are the different types of encryption or types of cryptography by using your private key encryption? So, let us see that the types of cryptography that you find, the most common type of cryptography are block ciphers and stream ciphers. Each method differs in the way that it groups bits of data to encrypt it. So in block cipher, the block cipher transform a fixed length block of plain text into a common block of cipher text of either 64 or 128 bits. So it may be 64 bits length or 128 bit length. Okay, so that means any information is there that is divided into blocks, the fixed length blocks of plain text into the common block of ciphertext of 64. So block size is the amount of data encrypted at any one time. To decrypt this ciphertext, apply the reverse transformation to the ciphertext block using the same secret key. So here the plain text message that is divided into the equal sized blocks that we call the blank that is 64 bits block or 128 bits block. So the block cipher, that encryption is completed in 64 bits block. Okay. So the block cipher usually results in output data that is larger than the input data because the cipher text must be a multiple of the block size. For example, data encryption standard DES, which is used, uh, the data encryption standard is a symmetric algorithm that encrypts blocks in 64 bit chunks using a 56 bit key. To accomplish this, the block algorithm takes data one chunk at a time. For example, 8 bytes per chunk. Then, until the entire block is full, if there is less input data than one full block, the algorithm adds artificial data or blanks until it uses the full 64 bits. Okay, so in this you can see this these blanks are used to fulfill that size. Okay, so this in this figure you can find the 64 bit on this the left side, that if any number of bits are missing, only 56 bits are there suppose, but it must require the the 64 bits block, then it use another 8 bits, the blank bits, the artificial bits to the block. Okay, whereas the another type of your cryptography using the private key encryption is stream cipher. So unlike the block cipher, the stream cipher encrypts plain text one byte or one bit at a time. Instead of blocks, it is every bit is encrypted, one byte or one bit. As shown in the figure, you can find this. So think of stream cipher as a block cipher with a block size of 1 bit. With the stream cipher, the transformation of these smaller plaintext units varies depending on when they are encountered during the encryption process. Stream ciphers can be much faster than your block ciphers. and generally do not increase the message size because they can encrypt an arbitrary number of bits. So A5 is a stream cipher that provides the voice privacy and encrypts cell phone communication. So it is also possible to use the data encryption standard DES method in stream cipher mode. Complex cryptographic systems can combine block and stream in the same process. Block and stream in the same process. So, in this private key encryption, the symmetric encryption algorithms which are used is uh, uh, the numerous encryption systems use the symmetric encryption. Some of the common encryption standards that use symmetric encryption, which includes the triple DES. So, digital encryption standard is a symmetric block cipher with 64-bit block size that uses a 56-bit key. It takes a 64-bit block of plain text as input and output a 64-bit block of cipher text. So it always operates on blocks of equal size and it uses both permutations and substitutions in the algorithm. Right? Um, so the permutation is a way of arranging all elements of a set, right? So triple DS encryption data three times encrypts the data three times and uses a different key for at least one of the three phases or three passes, giving it a cumulative key size of 112 bits to 168 bits in size. So triple DES is the resistant to attack, but it is much slower than DES, the simple data encryption standard. So the triple DS encryption cycle is like having first the data encrypted by first DES, then data decrypted by second DES, then data again re-encrypted by the third DES. So the reverse process decrypts the cipher text in triple DS. Another another symmetric encryption algorithm is IDEA, the International Data Encryption Algorithm, which uses the 64-bit blocks like your triple DES and 128-bit keys. So the IDEA performs 8 rounds of transformation on each of the 16 blocks that result from dividing each 64-bit block. So IDEA was the replacement of DES and now PGP, that pretty good privacy. It's a PGP is a program that provides privacy and authentication for data communication, and GPG, that is GNU Privacy Guard, we say GNU Privacy Guard, is a licensed free version of PGP, pretty good privacy. Another standard or another symmetric encryption algorithm is AES algorithm. So the advanced encryption standard has a fixed block size of 128 bits with a key size of 128 or 192 or 256 bits. So see, the key size is varying from your triple DES to your advanced encryption standard. The National Institute of Standard and Technology, NIST, which we use, that approved the advanced encryption standard algorithm in December 2001. The US government uses this AES to protect classified information. So AES is a strong algorithm that uses longer key lengths. So AES is faster than DES and triple DES. So it provides both the solution for software applications as well as hardware use in firewalls and routers. So other block ciphers include the skipjack that developed by the NSA and blowfish and two fish. These are other block ciphers are there. Okay. So now let us see the the public key encryption method. So in the public key encryption, the asymmetric encryption, also called your public key encryption, it's also right. So this public key encryption uses one key for encryption that is different from the key used to decrypt it. So a criminal cannot calculate the decryption key based on knowledge of the encryption key and vice versa. So in any reasonable amount of time. So if Alice and Bob, this example, if Alice and Bob exchange a secret message using public key encryption, they use an asymmetric algorithm. So this time, Bob and Alice do not exchange keys prior to sending secret messages. Instead, Bob and Alice each have a separate padlock with separate corresponding keys. For Alice to send a secret message to Bob, she must first contact him and ask him to send his open padlock to her. So Bob sends the padlock but keeps his key. When Alice receives uh, the padlock, she writes her secret message and puts it in a small box. So she also puts her open padlock in the box but keeps her key. She then locks the box with Bob's padlock. When Alice locks the box, she is no longer able to get inside because she does not have a key to that padlock. She mails the box to Bob, and as the box travels through the mail system, no one is able to open it. When Bob receives the box, he can use his key to unlock the box and retrieve the message from Alice. To send a secure reply, Bob puts his secret message in the box along with his open padlock and locks the box using Alice's padlock. So Bob mails the secured box back to Alice. So in this figure, now you see that the Alice request and obtained a Bob's public key. Can I get your public key, please? Then your Bob is here is my public key, sending that. So when sending the secret message, then Alice used the public key of Bob to encrypt plus the private key for your decrypt. So here the public key and private key is used for your confidentiality. So here you can see Alice requests and obtains Bob's public key, and then that public key is used for your encryption purpose. So Alice uses Bob's public key to encrypt a message using an agreed upon algorithm. So Alice sends that encrypted message to Bob, and Bob then uses his private key to decrypt the message. So as shown in this figure that you can use the Bob's private key is used for it. So this is the general concept of the public key. So let us see what are the asymmetric encryption algorithms are. So the asymmetric encryption process, in this, the asymmetric algorithms use formulas that anyone can look up. The pair of unrelated keys is what makes these algorithms secure. The asymmetric algorithm includes like RSA, the reversed Shamir Adelman, which uses the product of two very large prime numbers with an equal length of between 100 to 200 digits. Generally, browsers use these RSA algorithms, the public key algorithms, to establish a secure connection. Another one is the Diffie-Hellman algorithm, which provides an electronic exchange methods to share the secret keys. That is, the secure protocols such as your secure socket layer SSL and transport layer security, that is TLS, secure cell SSH, and internet protocol security, that IPsec, which uses this Diffie-Hellman method to exchange the keys. Another one is Elgamal. Elgamal asymmetric key algorithm uses the US government standard for digital signatures. So this algorithm is free for use because no one holds the patent of this Elgamal algorithm. Another important public key encryption algorithm is elliptic curve cryptography ECC, you see, which uses the elliptic curve as part of the algorithm. So in the US, the National Security Agency uses this ECC for digital signature generations and key exchange purpose. So I'm not going in details, the technical details of RSA, Diffie-Hellman, that is public key encryption algorithms or private key encryption algorithm. That is a separate part. But I request all of you to Google or search it and understand these algorithms, how these private keys and public keys are generated, and how these keys are exchanged between your sender and the receiver, right? So then we talk about the major part of this public key encryption or private key encryption is key management. We talk about that.